The Shitcoin Coliseum, win the trade, lose the war. Summary statement. This piece breaks down the brutal reality of shitcoin trading, a zero-sum coliseum where survival, not speed, determines who exits with gains. While many believe they can outtrade the market and convert altcoin wins into more Bitcoin, the math rarely works out. The few who do win use minimal leverage and exit early, but even those victories often bleed value against Bitcoin over time. The hard truth? Beating other traders doesn't mean you beat the system. In the end, the only real win is leaving the arena and stacking Bitcoin. Introduction: the false promise of the arena. Everyone knows the story. Or at least they think they do. You start with a little capital, jump into the latest trending altcoin, make a few lucky trades, and flip that tiny bag into a fortune. You time the pumps, you dodge the rugs, you win the game. Then you cash out into Bitcoin, hard money, the end game. This story is seductive because it feels attainable. Social media is filled with screenshots of 10x gains, wild success stories, and threads about how alt season is right around the corner. The message is simple: trade your way to the top. But beneath that shiny surface lies a brutal, blood-soaked reality. Shitcoin trading is not a game of wealth creation. It's a zero-sum arena of wealth extraction. For someone to win big, someone else has to lose everything. And even for those who win, the game isn't over. In fact, most victories are short-lived, because what you walk away with often bleeds out in value faster than you can realize. This exposition explores why shitcoin trading, despite all its promise, is structurally designed to leave most participants worse off, and why the only true path to long-term financial strength is stepping out of the arena and into Bitcoin. 2. The Colosseum metaphor: shitcoin trading as combat. Imagine stepping into an ancient Roman Colosseum. The crowd roars. The sand is soaked in the blood of past contenders. There are no rules, only tactics. No mercy, only outcomes. That's the nature of shitcoin trading, a spectacle of aggression, deception, and survival, where participants are both fighters and fodder. This isn't investing, it's combat. For every participant who exits with a profit, someone else exits with less than they started, or nothing at all. The game is zero-sum, and sometimes negative sum once you factor in trading fees, slippage, and market inefficiencies. It's not a collective push toward innovation or value creation. It's a redistribution mechanism, from the weak to the strong, the late to the early, the leveraged to the liquid. The traders who enter this arena often mistake movement for progress. Every pump feels like validation. Every small win feels like a step closer to the dream. But in reality, most are being slowly drained by smarter traders, bots, insiders, and the invisible gravity of capital decay. And make no mistake, this environment is designed to exploit human psychology. Greed pushes traders to chase momentum. Fear prevents rational exits. FOMO locks people in just before the dump. Overconfidence fuels bigger bets and more leverage. This is the nature of the Colosseum. It rewards pain tolerance, not intelligence. It demands blood, not brilliance. And as we'll explore next, the instinct to fight harder, to leverage up, to swing bigger, is precisely what makes most traders cannon fodder in this endless war. 3. The leverage illusion: why aggression fails. In the Shitcoin Coliseum, the crowd doesn't cheer for patience. They cheer for blood. And that's exactly why most traders reach for leverage. It promises the one thing everyone wants: amplified upside, right now. Why wait years stacking Bitcoin slowly when you could 10x your portfolio in a weekend? But here's the paradox: those who use the most leverage die the fastest. They don't just lose, they get liquidated, wiped out, turned into exit liquidity for someone else's gains. This is the great leverage illusion. In a volatile market, leverage doesn't increase your edge. It shortens your time horizon. Every percentage move against you becomes existential. You don't just lose money, you lose position, opportunity, and control. Meanwhile, the traders who do survive and occasionally win have one thing in common: they use the least leverage, or none at all. Why? Because shitcoin trading isn't a game of conquest. It's a game of attrition. The longer you can stay alive, mentally, financially, emotionally, the higher your odds of catching a cycle, an exit pump, or a narrative rotation that lets you walk away ahead. The longer your runway, the more likely you are to wait for asymmetric setups, avoid getting shaken out, exit before the music stops. But that strategy, low leverage, high patience, is deeply unintuitive in a space that rewards short-term bravado. It's not sexy, it doesn't make headlines, and so most people ignore it until it's too late. The harsh truth, the Coliseum doesn't punish bad timing. It punishes overexposure. Survival is the edge. Everything else is noise. Escaping the subgame, even winners bleed. Let's say you beat the odds. You didn't get liquidated. You avoided most of the rugs. You used low leverage, timed your trades, and managed to exit a few positions in profit. You've won, right? Not quite. Because even if you make it out of the shitcoin arena with your capital intact, or even slightly grown, you're still carrying a ticking time bomb. You're holding assets that bleed value against Bitcoin over time. The dirty secret of altcoins is that they are not designed to hold value. They are narrative-driven vehicles, fueled by hype, VC unlocks, and short-term speculation. Their cycles are brutal, their fundamentals are flimsy, and most of them, even the popular ones, trend towards zero in BTC terms over the long arc. So here's what happens to most winners. They exit their positions into slightly more of a shitcoin. That shitcoin then bleeds slowly for weeks or months. By the time they rotate into Bitcoin, they've lost 30 to 70% of their buying power. And that's assuming they even exit at all. Many get stuck in the illusion of one more trade. Just one more rotation, one more pump. But the market doesn't care about your plans. It cares about fees, volatility, and draining your stack, one candle at a time. Even if you escape the other players in the arena, you're still trapped in the system itself. A system that punishes delay, that eats away at your gains, that quietly transfers value to Bitcoin, day after day, cycle after cycle. Which brings us to the most important truth of all. Bitcoin is the benchmark, and everything else, even your altcoin wins, must be measured against it. This content is brought to you by Bobby Gigs. Promote your brand here and reach a wide audience across platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Follow the links in the description to get started. The long-term math, why Bitcoin still wins. Zoom out far enough and all the noise fades. The hype cycles, the influencer charts, the TikTok testimonials, they blur into one predictable pattern. Bitcoin holds and everything else bleeds. If you measure performance in dollars, you might fool yourself into thinking an altcoin is up. But if you measure in Bitcoin, the hardest, scarcest, most resilient asset in the ecosystem, the story changes. Historically, almost every altcoin, including major ones, loses value against BTC over time. Ethereum has had moments of strength, but still struggles to hold its BTC pair over full cycles. Solana, Cardano, BNB, all the darlings of their respective seasons, spike, then decay. The graveyard of once promising coins is vast and littered with logos. Why does this happen? Because Bitcoin is structurally different, fixed supply, decentralized and permissionless, immune to dilution, insider unlocks, or marketing fatigue, strengthened by time, adoption, and Lindy effect. Altcoins, on the other hand, are often inflated by insiders, dumped on retail, subject to protocol changes, forks, and team drama, tied to ecosystems that depend on endless growth to justify value. Even the best performers in the altcoin space are typically momentum plays, not long-term stores of value. And without constant inflows, the gravity of Bitcoin pulls them back down. So when you beat the market by stacking more of a token that's losing ground to Bitcoin, you haven't really won. You've just delayed your loss. The math doesn't lie. Over long horizons, Bitcoin outperforms not just through appreciation, but through resilience. The only winning move: exit early, stack hard money. At some point, every seasoned trader faces a sobering moment. I've spent months trading, stressing, chasing setups, and I could have just stacked Bitcoin and been better off. It's the red pill of the crypto world. The realization that the game most people are playing isn't designed to help them win. It's designed to extract time, attention, and capital from participants who overestimate their edge and underestimate the structure of the market. The idea that you can trade altcoins to eventually accumulate more Bitcoin sounds good in theory, but in practice, you expose yourself to extreme volatility. You lose capital to fees, slippage, and opportunity cost. You hold assets that underperform the very thing you're trying to accumulate. It's a treadmill, and the faster you run, the less ground you actually cover. The only winning move is to exit the subgame early. Get out of the arena before it turns you into cannon fodder. Opt out of the grind before it consumes your stack and your sanity. Shift the goal from more trades to more Bitcoin by stacking directly, not speculating endlessly. This isn't about being risk averse. It's about being outcome focused. The goal isn't to feel like a winner, it's to be one. And in the world of digital assets, that means holding the one asset that continues to win across every cycle, Bitcoin. Every extra day spent trying to outperform Bitcoin is a day your purchasing power likely deteriorates. So stop trying to beat the system. Start opting out of it. 7. Conclusion. The arena never changes, but you can. The shitcoin arena will always be there. There will always be a new token, a new narrative, a new influencer thread promising the next 100x. The crowd will roar, the hype will swell, the exit liquidity will flood in, again and again. But the rules never change. It's a zero-sum game dressed up as opportunity. The winners are few and often escape early. The survivors use low leverage, high discipline, and even then, bleed over time. And the biggest trap of all? Thinking you're the exception. Most people don't lose because they're stupid. They lose because they play a game they don't fully understand. A game where the scoreboard is rigged and the prizes decay before they can be claimed. But here's the good news. You can leave. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to flip 5 trades to earn the right to own Bitcoin. You can simply opt out now and begin stacking the one asset that survives every cycle, absorbs every rotation, and continues to compound strength over time. Because in the Shitcoin Coliseum, even the victors walk away poorer than they think. And the only true win is stepping out of the arena while you still can.